Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is March 1st. I'm super excited because that means spring is coming. And I live in the Midwest, so we have pretty cold winters. So if you live out here, it's a big deal. I'm excited for warmer weather coming. But anyways, I wanted to make a video today about how narcissists give themselves away. And this is something that I've found to be true with my ex. And I'm in a support group, and this is something that a lot of people in my support group have mentioned as well. And it's probably something that the narcissist in your life has done, and maybe it like slipped under the radar and you didn't even notice it. Narcissists usually give themselves away by little tells that they have. And my ex totally did this. And he would say, I'm such a piece of crap. You deserve better. Why are you with me? You could get someone so much better than me. I don't deserve you. He actually said once, I've done a lot of horrible things before in my past, and I'm such a bad person. And he used to say that all the time. He would all the time say that he was a bad person. But then he wouldn't elaborate on what he meant by that. And of course, if you listened to my other videos, I mentioned how he pretended to be an Iraq veteran. And he would go into detail about how because he pretended to have PTSD from it. And he would go into detail about having to kill people in Iraq. And he talked about how he had to kill a woman. He talked about having to kill a 13 or 14-year-old teenage boy. And he talked about how those things, ate him up inside and blah, blah, blah. So when he would say these statements, like, I've done so many horrible things, I thought he was referring to stuff he did in a war, by being like, oh, I had to do all these terrible things over there and whatever. Of course, obviously, after I found out he was making the entire thing up and he was never in Iraq, um, him making the statement that, oh, I'm a horrible person and I've done terrible things. Yeah, he wasn't talking about Iraq. The thing is that narcissists know that they are horrible people. They know that inside. They hate themselves. And they're fully aware of every single thing that they do. They're aware of all of the lying and the manipulating and the scheming and the conning and the using, the cheating, the stealing. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that they are not good people. They know that they're screwing people over all the time. They're the biggest con artists ever. They're pathological liars. And they know that they're constantly taking advantage of people. And they know that they don't love people. They know that they're different and that they don't care about people the way other people do. My ex actually told me that before. He said that, he knew his whole life, ever since he was a kid, that something was wrong with him. He didn't really know what was wrong with him, but he was kind of like, I just don't feel normal emotions like most people do. And so he knew that he was different. He knew that he was pretending to love people and pretending to have empathy for people and pretending to care about people. And he knew that with normal people, it came natural to them, that they just instinctively had those emotions. He knew he was pretending to have those emotions. He had to fake those emotions. And so they know that they're terrible people. They know that they're horrible. They know they're different. And they're aware of the piece of crap that they are. So it's almost like a guilty conscience, but I don't think it is, because I don't believe that narcissists have any remorse for any of their actions. Maybe it's possible for some of the lower end narcissists to maybe have remorse. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not an expert in the field. I just got totally screwed over by a narcissistic ex. But narcissism is a spectrum. And obviously, no two narcissists are going to be the same. They have a lot of the same characteristics and traits and all of that, but they're not identical. It's sort of, it's a spectrum disorder, so everyone's going to fall on different levels. I think that my ex was a sociopath. And I think a sociopath is just a really, really, really strong narcissist. I mean, if we do it a scale 1 to 10, I think a 10 would be a sociopath on, the narcissist scale. And but then, there could be lesser narcissists who aren't as pathological, I suppose. And so it's possible um, that if they fall on like the scale of being a 1 or a 2, maybe they do their tells because they have somewhat of a guilty conscience, and it's just like subconsciously leaking out. I don't really know. Um, Perhaps another theory is that they kind of think that by saying these things, here and there and going, oh, you deserve better and I'm a piece of crap, they sort of justify their treatment of you by going, well, I tried to warn her. I did tell her that I was a horrible person, and I did tell her I've done bad things, and I told her she deserved better, and I told her I was a piece of shit. So it sort of alleviates any guilt or any accountability or responsibility on their part, because they feel like, well, I did try to warn you about the kind of person I was, and I tried to warn you about how the relationship would go, and well, you stayed with me anyway, or you dated me anyway. But I'm not really sure why they do this, but this is something that my ex completely did. He always had these little tells, and this was throughout the whole relationship. He did this in the beginning. He would sit there and say, you're such a good person. You're like the nicest person I've ever met, and I'm a horrible person. I'm a bad person. I've done really messed up, horrible things. And then I would be like, well, what did you do? Or what do you mean? And then he wouldn't elaborate. He would just shut down and not say anything, because narcissists don't take responsibility or accountability. So even though he knows that he does these, that he's always lying and stealing and burning bridges and just screwing everyone over, he's never really going to own it and kind of go into detail about the things that he does. So they'll make like blanket statements by being like, oh, you deserve better. You deserve more. And narcissists, one of the things that they do is they project their actions on us. So a lot of times they'll accuse you of cheating, they accuse you of, possibly lying, and, really doing all of the things that they do. They always project. But something that we do, we project our feelings onto them as well. And it's something that we don't really realize that we do. And what I mean by that is, we know that we're good people, we're forgiving, we are loving, we are sympathetic, we have big hearts. And so we put that on everyone else. We think that they're the same way as us. We project who we are on that person. So someone could be showing us obvious signs that they're not a good person, they're not trustworthy. They have this track record where, gee, it's kind of weird that all these people in the narcissist past, they all have these issues, or, all of their family members have nothing to do with the narcissist. And there's always these red flags that we overlook that are telling us the kind of personality the narcissist has. And we overlook it because we project who we are onto the narcissist. So we ignore their blatant, messed up behavior. And we project our own hearts and forgiveness and love and all of that onto the narcissist. We think, well, they just must be misunderstood. Surely they're a good person. They told me they loved me. Well, they just have been through a lot. Um, with me, I was like, well, he went through this war and he's just a misunderstood veteran and he's got PTSD and he just needs somebody who's loving, understanding, empathetic, somebody who's going to help him and be there for him and help him through this mental issue that he's going through right now. And I ignored all of the obvious signs. And he himself was even telling me that he was a piece of crap human being. And I didn't listen. And that quote where it's like, when somebody shows you their true colors, don't try to repaint them. It's so true. We even have the narcissist in our lives telling us to our faces that they're not a good person. And we still overlook it, because it's really for two reasons. Because that's the kind of person we are. We project our hearts onto them. So because we know that we're good, we think, well, they must be good too. There's just reasonable explanations for this messed up behavior. And deep down, they're a good guy. And the second reason that we overlook it is because of the love bombing. They do such a good job by presenting themselves in this version of a person that, wow, they're loving, and they come on so strong, and they promise you the world, and they tell you that they're going to marry you and whisk you away and give you this fairy tale life. And you want to believe in that because we're empathetic. We're hopeless romantics. I mean, at least I am. Deep down, it's like, yeah, I am a hopeless romantic. You want to believe in the fairy tale. You want the happy ending. You want the happily ever after. And they sell you that. And they make you think that that's exactly what's going to happen. My cat just came over and meowed. I don't know if you can hear it, but but they want you to believe that that's going to be your life and they're this great person. So when they sit there and tell you these things subconsciously, when these things kind of leak out of them, when they go, oh, I'm a horrible person, or, I'm just a bad guy and I'm a piece of shit. My ex used to tell me probably a few times a week that he was a piece of shit. That was one of his most famous. That was one of the things he said the most. And the second one he said the most was probably, you deserve better, or I don't deserve you. But he always said those statements. And so it's like you just overlook it because you want to believe that they're a good guy, and they love bombed you so good that you can't see that they're not a good person. But so pay attention, because the narcissist is going to have those little tells where the truth slips out. And, they have such this horrible reputation that's always following them. Everyone hates the narcissist. People avoid the narcissist. They don't really have long lasting friends. I mean, you might have a friend of 10 years, 20 years. The narcissist doesn't have that. They don't have, their kids aren't in their life. They don't have friends from high school that they still talk to. They don't have any family that wants anything to do with them, coworkers. They just don't really have any people that are around for a long time. And that's one of the obvious red flags. My ex was always going through people like Kleenex. And it was like, I just always thought, oh, well, that person was a jerk, or that, because he would always badmouth and talk about everyone behind their back. And he always justified it like, well, I don't want to talk to that guy anymore because he's a piece of shit. And da-da-da. But it was really the other way around. But the narcissist, they know they're terrible. And that's why they let these things slip out. So if you look back or think back about the relationship that you had with your ex, that's probably something that, looking back, you could go, oh my God, yeah, he did say that. There were moments where he would kind of try to almost warn me in a weird way and tell me that I deserved better, or that he didn't deserve someone as, amazing, or this or that, whatever adjectives they want to throw in there. And but at the time you ignored it. And maybe part of them does it to fish for validation or compliments as well. Because when you tell someone, oh, I'm a piece of shit, well, the other person's going to go, no, you're not. I mean, you're not going to agree with them, right? So when the narcissist sits there and says, oh, I'm a piece of crap, and, you deserve better, your natural instinct is going to sort of coddle them and say, babe, oh my God, you're such an amazing person. Are you kidding me? You're my soulmate. You're like my best friend. I love you so much. Like, you're not a piece of crap. You're an amazing person, and you do deserve to be loved. So perhaps that's another reason why they say those statements as well, to sort of get the validation from you, to sort of confirm that, oh no, you're not. You're not a piece of crap. You're a good guy. I think it's a subconscious thing that just sort of comes out of them, and they just sort of, because they know so much. They know in their minds, to their core, that they are a terrible person. I think it's just a thing that slips out. I don't know if they plan to say it as part of the manipulation. They might. Some of them might. But I think they have these tells just because it's almost subconscious. I don't think they even realize it. And so that's something that you'll want to pay attention to. They almost try to warn you about the person they are. When somebody tells you they're a piece of crap, believe them. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned from the relationship with my ex. I mean, if somebody tells you I'm a bad guy, I mean, my ex actually said that to me, that he was a bad person. He was a bad guy. He's done terrible things. He's a piece of crap. He doesn't deserve me. When somebody tells you that, believe them. because they probably know something that you don't know yet. They know about the cheating and the lying and all the stuff that they're going to do to you. You just don't know it yet. So when they're trying to warn you and say, I'm a crappy person, don't try to argue with them and say, no, you're not. Believe them. Believe them. That's one of my regrets. I mean, my ex was almost trying to, he was like waving a banner the whole relationship, telling me he's a piece of crap. And I just constantly overlooked it. And then sure enough, years later, I'm sitting here going, wow, he wasn't, that was the one thing he wasn't lying about. Imagine that. He lied about everything else, the entire relationship. And the one thing he never lied about was being a piece of shit. So I kind of just wanted to make a video talking about that because that is something I see in my support group. And it's probably something that your ex has actually said to you. And it didn't really dawn on you at the time that they were almost trying to like forewarn you about the piece of crap that they were. So hopefully you guys liked this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.